Hello everybody, welcome back to the Brickazoids Den. Oh boy, okay. So, when I was looking at the episode list for Season 5 of Adventure Time to make this video, I noticed that there's like 52 episodes in this one season. So, I decided to make the executive decision to, instead of doing 10, do 20, because there's a lot of episodes in this season. And this will also give me more, actually, that's not true. I was going to say there's going to be more space to share my thoughts, but I kind of want to make this video quick, because I don't want it to be like an hour long about me just talking about 20 Adventure Time episodes. So, yeah, I'm going to get right into it right now, because, again, I don't want this video to be like 10 million hours long. Starting off the list at number 20, we have One Last Job. This is basically where Jake goes back to his old criminal friends, which is Tiffany, the Flying Lettuce Brothers, and Gareth, I think his name was. And they basically commit one last job because Jake Jr. was kidnapped, was stolen. Where'd Jake Jr. go? But overall, this was just a very simple episode, but it was a very fun one too. It was Jake committing a crime, a mass crime in the Candy Kingdom, blowing up the vault to try and get a relic to save Jake Jr. Little did we know later on that Jake Jr. was really the person who was behind it all. So, all that. But yeah, that's basically one last job is at number 20. Number 19 coming in right now, we have We Fixed a Truck. I love this episode. This one's so good. One that I like to go back to in Season 5 a lot. It's basically Finn, BMO, and Jake and Banana Man fixing a truck. They fixed a truck and they're able to drive it around the Candy Kingdom. And at the end, they also did this thing with lizards, where Princess Bubblegum was actually a lizard, which Starchy the Gravedigger, who owns a podcast in the Candy Kingdom, talked about Princess Bubblegum potentially being a lizard, and foreshadowed Princess Bubblegum actually being a lizard in this episode, and they had to fight her. That was like the main villain of the episode that this time around. And yeah, this one was really fun just to watch them all fix a truck. A great song, voiced by Banana Man as well. So that's why it is at number 19. Okay, number 18 coming in. I gotta keep moving. We have Candy Streets. This is just a great little detective episode for Finn and Jake within the Candy Kingdom as well. And basically, Lumpy Space Princess has, quote unquote, something stolen or some. I don't know. She got knocked out before she was able to actually say the full sentence by a giant drug that Princess Bubblegum gave her. And Lumpy Space Princess ended up being that she fell in love with a pizza boy who delivered pizza to her, and she lost, or he stole her heart or something like that. And then it was the whole mystery at the end was just like a crazy funny mess. It was all a joke, but it was a really, really good fun episode. Just kind of going throughout the Candy Kingdom. You got to do a nice little train chase scene. Got to see Pete Sassafras and all that, who later comes in at the finale of Adventure Time as well. And yeah, this one's just at number 18 because it's just, again, another fun episode, honestly. What is this? I'm going so fast, I don't even remember what number I'm on. 17, okay. Number 17, we have Sky Witch, which is the Princess Bubblegum and Marceline episode where they go after Maja, the Sky Witch, to get, I think it was Hambo back? Anyways, this episode basically introduced Maja, the Sky Witch, and also gave us some really nice moments with Princess Bubblegum and Marceline. We also got to meet Crabbit the Familiar, I think his name was, who can he was just a mess, honestly. He could grow into this buff body, and then there was a fight between him and Marceline, and you basically just got to explore this whole new setting, which is Maja's, the Sky Witch's house, and eventually there had to be a trade between Hambo and Princess Bubblegum's shirt that she got from Marceline, which was actually shown in episode 2 of Distant Lands and Obsidian on how she got it, which was really cool as well. But yeah, Skywitch 17, it was pretty good. Be More is number 16 here, and this one mainly was just like a Finn and Jake BMO adventure throughout the Mo factory where BMO was made. But I think what really sells this episode for me was the ending with Grandpoop, or Grandpa, whatever. And it was, what's his actual name? Is it just Mo? I think it actually might just be Mo. I'm completely just forgetting. But this was a really fun episode where basically BMO was one of a kind. I think he was a one of a kind model, and I think, as we know from Distant Lands episode 1, BMO was sent to space. He's a one-of-a-kind model. He was sent to space, and then he never really returned to the Mo factory, but he basically got a glitch, so he had to go back, and now they have to fix him, but everybody didn't really know who he was, so they attacked him. But eventually, when they actually got to Mo, who's like the creator of all the Mos, A-Mo, Z-Mo, B-Mo, all those things, he eventually explained to everybody that BMO was one of a kind, and that he was able to kind of show BMO's family, which was, basically all these Mos living in this little like tube thing. It was really fun, and the ending was really nice. So I would say Be More is number 16. Next, we have number 15, which is James. This episode's about James the Graham Cracker, who was introduced in this episode, and it was pretty sad, honestly. I mean, the episode opened with a funeral, so that was, messed up. It opened up with a funeral and just kind of explained what happened, where Princess Bubblegum, Finn, Jake, James, and Princess Bubblegum went on this, I guess excursion to try and get some sort of minerals or something like that, but ended up getting attacked by acid zombies from the Mushroom War era. And, they were kind of locked in the spaceship, and they had to find a way out, and James had to sacrifice himself so that Princess Bubblegum could carry Jake and Finn out of there without the acid zombies actually getting to them. So, in turn, James became a acid zombie in the end, but Princess Bubblegum was also able to replace James with a new James that she made, because she can basically she makes her candy people, so it was, the funeral wasn't as sad as it may have been if they just didn't even replace him, but it's also a kid's show, so they kind of have to do something like that, so it's not really dark. But anyways, James is number 15 on the list. We'll move on to 14 right now. Okay, number 14, I don't even know how to say that. Is it Pooey or Poohoy? I don't know. This is the Finn, Jake, BMO, Pillow Fort episode, because I think there was a knife storm outside, so they couldn't really go out, so they made a giant pillow fort in the treehouse. I think even Jake was a construction vehicle and pushed all the pillows in. Anyways, Finn goes into one of the pillow forts and gets brought into this pillow world with a bunch of pillow people, and he basically lives his entire life in this pillow world. He gets married, he has kids, and he lives his entire life in this pillow world, and then I believe he dies as well, and then he wakes back up in, I guess, the real world, and most likely it was all a dream, I believe. I definitely don't think it was real, because Finn wouldn't be alive right now, and, all this, but it was a lot. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the episodes after Finn and Flame Princess break up, so this is kind of where, Finn was really sad at this moment. He was very vulnerable, and another pillow woman came into his life, and he eventually got married in this pillow world, but it was all really a dream. But overall, it was really great, and then this also gave us one of the best lessons Jake ever gave us, where he basically said, look at this cup, you see this cup, and then he threw it outside in the window. He says, I don't see it anymore, so it doesn't really matter to me anymore. And great advice, Jake. Thank you so much. And he told that to BMO, but BMO thought it was dumb. Anyways, moving on to number 13. Okay, number 13 is The Vault. Now, this is the episode or was it? No, I don't think it was. It's just basically a backstory on where this thing from the episode, I believe in season 3, called The Creeps, which was the Halloween episode. Finn goes into a room, and this giant green monstrous girl creature comes out at him, but he escapes. This is basically the explanation of who that was, and it actually ended up being Finn's former reincarnation. And her name was Shoko, and this is basically her backstory, this whole episode, and how she worked with Princess Bubblegum to basically build not only the Gumball Guardians, but also a lot of the Candy Kingdom itself. And yeah, I mean, this episode was very, very good. It was great backstory, and I think I remember seeing the teaser preview for this episode, and I was very excited to finally get some insight on who this character was, and to now know that it was actually a very interesting character is very, very cool as well. So yes, number 13, we have The Vault. Number 12, we got Rattleballs, who is the vigilante of Adventure Time. He is the Batman to Adventure Time, and he's awesome. He's so cool. He's basically, there was, I believe it was, Princess Bubblegum had an old, group of guards for protection that were supposed to protect people, but I think they were like too strong or they were too aggressive, so she ended up having to get rid of them all. But Rattleballs was able to break from his programming and actually escape, and now he's in this junkyard, and that's where he lives, and he's extremely well trained with a sword. This is the episode after, or not the episode, but one of the episodes after Finn gets his grass sword, and he's starting to learn how to use it. Rattleballs teaches him how to use some very crazy moves, like cutting people into little cubes and everything, or they didn't actually cut people into cubes, but they did like little paper or cardboard stuff. But overall, it was really cool, and this was a really good episode of just Finn being trained how to use a sword like the grass sword, which is basically stuck to his hand at this point in the show. And like I said, Rattleballs showed him how to use his sword properly. And overall, it was a really, really fun episode. And Rattleballs as a character is one of my not one of my favorites, but he was definitely one of the cooler ones because he's, like I said, almost like a vigilante. By the end of the show, I believe. All right, number 11, we have 2 episodes here. I just put them together because they're a part of the exact same story. We have Playdate and The Pit. I think this was like around the mid area of the season here, and it's basically Keoth. This is like the Keoth episode where Keoth comes back and he does bad stuff. He gets what he wants, which is the Demon Blood Sword. Basically, in Playdate, Abracadaniel and Ice King is living at Finn and Jake's house, because this is after the episode Frost and Fire, where Ice King's kingdom melts, and he gave Gunter his crown so that Gunter could rebuild. But, we all know how that works out. Anyways, Ice King is still living at Finn and Jake's treehouse, but they don't really want him there, so they get him a Playdate. They get him a person to hang out with, Abracadaniel. Abracadaniel and Ice King immediately get along, they have a good time, and they noticed Finn's demon blood sword in the treehouse, and by the end of the episode Playdate, it ends, I believe it gets broken, and Keoth gets his power back, and then he becomes like a villain for the next episode, The Pit, where he basically captures Jake, thinking that he's Joshua, leaves him in a pit, and then Finn and Lady Ranicorn have to try and go get Jake back, defeat Keoth, and yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Or something like that. I don't actually think maybe he did. I was going to say, I don't remember if Keoth ever actually got his blood back from the Demon Blood Sword, but he was summoned, which is obviously not good. Anyways, number 11 is Playdate in the Pit, because it was kind of a story episode, and it wrapped up Keoth, and I guess Keoth and Joshua's, I can't think of it, rivalry, I guess. Just kind of wrapped up that character, Keoth. So I think it was pretty cool. But we'll move on to number 10 here. We are in our final top 10 here for this list. I know it's been a long one. But this number 10 spot might surprise people. I don't know. I guess it depends on how well this episode was received. But personally, for me, I really, really liked it because it was pretty emotional, honestly. And that episode is Bad Timing. This is basically the episode where Lumpy Space Princess reconnects or re-meets up with I think it's an old classmate, I believe, from her past when she went to school. And this basically happens because Princess Bubblegum invented a time machine where she's able to time travel back, and Lumpy Space Princess steals it, goes back in time, meets this guy. They get together. It's basically like they fall in love, emotional turmoil and everything, and then her time machine breaks, and it basically takes this guy away from her, and she experiences heartbreak. But not only is the episode emotional itself, there's also moments not moments, but basically the whole episode is surrounded by this border, which is very interesting. It's a giant border of all these like little dudes in this little area kind of doing stuff, and in the middle is like basically the episode's content. But it just, like, when this guy disappears, he goes to this world, and you can see him actually on the outside of the border. And overall, it is just super duper emotional, and actually really sad for a character like Lumpy Space Princess, who's usually loud and obnoxious, and a lot of times annoying. But just to see her go through like such heartbreak is pretty crazy. It's really, 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 really heavy topic. So yeah, I would say Bad Timing is number 10 for me, but we'll move on to 9 now. Number 9, we got a fun one. We have James Baxter, the horse. This was it's mainly up here because James Baxter, he's a great character. He's beautifully animated. The animation style changed just for James Baxter himself. basically the content or synopsis of the episode. Finn and Jake are trying to cheer up people just like James Baxter does. Doesn't really work out as well, but they at least try. But overall, again, it's number 9 because James Baxter. James Baxter's just great. I love James Baxter. He's great. He's riding around on his beach ball. He's great. Number 8 on the list. We're moving right along, trying to get this done as quickly as possible. We have Frost and Fire. Well, this episode was pretty messed up. This was the Flame Princess Finn breakup episode because Finn has a dream with, I believe, the Cosmic Owl, and his dream was that Ice King and Flame Princess fought each other. And he basically does a lot of messed up stuff, writes notes and things to provoke them to fight. Because I think they were having a picnic or something, and then Ice King interrupted it, and then Flame Princess did this really cool move and beat him up. And they, like I said, Ice King and Flame Princess basically fight each other. And it's all because Finn caused it, because he wanted to see them fight again, and just over and over again. That's pretty messed up, and he messed up big time. It ended up with Flame Princess melting the Ice Kingdom, hence why in the episode, what episode was it? Playdate in the Pit, Ice King was basically having to live with Finn and Jake because Finn was the cause of the Ice Kingdom being melted, and this giant fight between Flame Princess and Ice King. But overall, it was really, really good episode. Just to see that fight, honestly, was really cool. But also because it was pretty messed up, and this was a pretty big moment for Adventure Time because we were spending about probably like a season and a half with Finn and Flame Princess being together, and now they're not. Okay, number 7 here. We have Blade of Grass. Well, this episode wasn't like crazy with story, but it did introduce the Grass Sword, which became a very big point, or a very big thing from now in Season 5 up until the end of the series. I mean, Fern was basically made from the Grass Sword. He represents the Grass Sword, like the physical manifestation of it, basically. And this is how Finn gets it. This is the dawn of the Grass Sword and the cursed Grass Sword, I guess. But overall, that was about it. I think Finn's sword broke, and then he just kind of had to use his fist and didn't really work. But eventually, he met up with this guy, or this wizard guy, who cursed a grass sword, and he tried to get rid of it. But he tries to get rid of it, and he eventually accepts that it's going to be with him. But yeah, that's about it. There's nothing else that really happened too much. Just basically has a blade of grass, and this kind of introduced the Grass Sword, and I thought it was pretty important, but it was also an enjoyable episode. It wasn't a bad episode. It just wasn't as good as some of the other ones up here as well. Okay, so next we got number 6 on the list here. We have Betty. Yeah, this is I think the first episode that really kind of showed Betty for like real Betty in Adventure Time, and basically the whole idea is that Ice King does this ritual, which turns him back into Simon, and I think he starts to become he starts to die, I believe, because he needs the crown to survive at this point. And then Marceline, Finn, and Jake try and help him recontact Betty from the past, and I think they make some sort of time portal machine to go see her once again, but she ends up jumping through, and this basically starts the whole Betty plot line where Betty exists in the Land of Ooo. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy, honestly. There's not too much else to say about it. I just thought this was a really important episode that I actually enjoyed. Well, actually, sorry, I shouldn't have said it like that. That makes it sound like I don't enjoy Adventure Time episodes. I do. All the Adventure Time episodes are really good, but this one in particular was really good because it introduced Betty, but it was also a really nice story about Simon and Betty reconnecting, even though we all know what happens to Betty at the end of the series. Number 5, we got Billy's Bucket List. Yeah, this one's really cool. We get to meet Canyon, who's a great character, and she also shows up in another episode in season 6 or 7, I think. I don't remember exactly which season, but either way, yeah, this was a really fun episode, honestly. It was just basically Billy had a bucket list, and Canyon and Finn were trying to get it done, and it was really cool. It was really, really nice. But what was really great about this episode was that this kickstarted the whole plot line where Finn's dad, real dad, was still alive, because at the end, Finn is lying in the ocean, I actually believe, and Billy's kind of constellation in the stars shows up, and he tells him that Finn's dad is still alive, and this was a pretty big moment, and this was also the Season 5 finale, which then brought us into Season 6, where we got a lot of Finn's dad showing up, Martin Mertens, doing a lot in the season. So for now, Season 5, we end off with Billy's bucket list at number 5 for Season 5 finale. And we'll move on to number 4 now. All right, number 4. I've been actually excited for this one because this episode is about one of my favorite characters of Adventure Time ever, is Root Beer Guy. Number 4 is Root Beer Guy. Man, this was such a great episode, honestly. I love Root Beer Guy. He is so great. Bingo bango. He's incredible. He has this whole mystery that he needs to solve. And the whole idea was that the Banana Guards were testing the Banana Guards to see how well they solved the mystery, but it ended up being Root Beer Guy instead. And then Root Beer Guy became Captain Root Beer Guy. He became like one of the leaders of the Banana Guards, or the captain of the Banana Guards, you know what I mean? And oh man, it was so good. The mystery was so good. Like I said, Root Beer Guy as a character was incredible, and the whole mystery was great because it was interesting to see. Basically, Finn and Jake were kind of like the villains of this episode because Captain Root Beer Guy was I kept calling him Captain Root Beer Guy. Root Beer Guy was very suspicious of Finn and Jake, getting rid of the princess almost. So, yeah, Root Beer Guy is number 4 for sure. It was so good. I love it. Okay, what is this, 3 now? Man, I've been going on for a long time. Anyways, we have number 3, Lemon Hope Part 1 and 2, which were they were the last 2 episodes before the finale, I believe, is how it went. Yeah, I think that's how it went. Anyways, yes, we have Lemon Hope Parts 1 and 2. I put them together because they're part of the same story. But, these were interesting. They were very, very interesting. I never actually thought that would be a 2-part episode regarding Lemon Hope, just because I think he was kind of like a minor character. But his episodes were, they were really weird, honestly. He kept going to, like, this dream space where he was, climbing through. I don't even know what happened. But, this episode was interesting because of all these, like, really weird things that happened with Lemon Hope and him, like, his journey kind of leaving the Candy Kingdom, leaving the land of Ooo, almost. But then there was also the whole thing with, I think he defeated Lemongrab officially. Because at this point, Lemongrab was, like, huge. He ate Lemongrab 2. And all this, he was really fat, and I believe in this episode, Lemon Hope actually comes back to defeat him, to defeat Lemongrab, which is a pretty big moment because Lemongrab has been around for so long. He's been a villain for a little while, and Lemon Hope just defeated him, And we also get that wonderful ending scene with Princess Bubblegum singing a song about Lemon Hope, and it also shows Lemon Hope in the future of Ooo, basically. And he was just really old, and he finally got to go back home. So it was really, really nice 2 episodes. So that's why it's at number 3. Coming in with our final 2 here, I'm going to start with number 2, of course. We got Finn the Human and Jake the Dog, which were the season premieres for Adventure Time Season 5, picking up where Season 4 left off with the Lich, that episode, The Lich, where the Lich walks through the portal, dragging Finn and Jake along with him. And we get picked up right where that one left off. They go to Prismo, and when the Lich wishes for the destruction of the world or something like that, he gets sent away, and then Finn wishes to... did he wish to stop the Lich at all costs or something? And it ends up taking him to this other world called the Farm World. And then we have, like, basically just a regular Finn Mertens. He's not an adventurer. He's nothing. He has his mother and his father are still, around, but they're also not Martin Mertens and what was not Marguerite. What was her name? I forget his mother's name, but I'll have to research that after I do the video. But anyways, and Jake is just a regular dog, and we get to see all these different characters who are just kind of regular people. Marceline is just kind of a regular person who protects Simon Petrikov's body because his body is actually holding the nuke. He used the crown to freeze the nuke that would drop, and he was basically just kind of stuck there. And he's like dead at this point. So if it was ever to break out of place, the nuke would go off and cause the Lich's destruction. So basically, This whole episode is just kind of going through that, while also the real Jake that so Finn is in the farm world, and the real Jake the dog is in Prismo's place, Prismo's cube almost, and just kind of hanging out with Prismo, trying to think about what he's going to wish for. And in the end, he wishes, I believe, was it to save Finn or something along those lines, or to stop the Lich, or I don't know. I don't even remember that. It was kind of like a longer wish, but basically Jake saves the day and he stops the Lich from destroying the world, along with also having, oh my god, I'm completely blanking. Oh, no. And then also bringing Finn back to keep Finn safe, because Finn actually took Ice King's crown which was the end of the episodes, and he used its power to, what did he, I think he tried to, he tried to stop a bunch of people from destroying his family's home, because there were a bunch of, what are they called? I don't know, thugs, a gang that kept terrorizing their little town, and Finn used the Ice Crown to stop them and save his family, but it ended up with the bomb going off, Jake becoming the Lich, and it was a lot. It was a very heavy 2 episodes, and it was a great start to the season, especially a very long season like this. So, yeah, that's what we'll go with. Now, the number 1 episode, probably no surprise to anybody, is Simon and Marcy. I mean, come on. I think this was actually, I'll be honest, I think this one was kind of tough to choose between the Season 5 premiere episodes, which were Finn the Human and Jake the Dog, or Simon and Marcy, but inevitably I had to go with Simon and Marcy because this episode was just huge. It was huge. We got basically a whole episode in the post-Mushroom War pre-Ooh era, along with seeing young Marcy and Simon just kind of living their lives, honestly, and Marceline telling the story about how they met, how they bonded, and it was just super emotional, especially towards the end when Ice King had to put on the crown and his mind was slowly turning, and eventually by the end of it, his mind was basically completely turned at that point, or just about almost turned. But this episode picks up, it picks up off where I Remember You left off, which was very cool, and they were playing basketball and telling stories, and Ice King doesn't even remember any of it because the crown kind of clouded his mind. So it's very sad, but it is definitely number 1, and that was about it. Whew, that was a lot of talking for this list. 20 episodes is a lot to talk about. But anyways, that was about it for this one. If you enjoyed, please do the common YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one in the future. See you, everybody.